With the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie on the horizon, there is one question that everybody's asking. Who are these creepy animatronics, and why do they look like they want to kill me? From Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, to the weird cousins like Mangle, Ennard, and the absolute fever dream that is DJ Music Man. This franchise has built an army of mechanical nightmares. And today we are breaking them all down, their origins, their lore, and the disturbing details that the games and the movie don't always spell out. So buckle in, because once you open the curtain on Fazbear Entertainment, you don't come back the same. Before we get lost in the complete nightmare fuel and Glamrock chaos, we need to start where it all began, the core four: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. So Freddy Fazbear, he's the face of the franchise, and on the surface he's just a bear mascot, but lore-wise, he's basically a haunted tombstone in a bow tie. The running theory is that Freddy is possessed by one of the murdered children from the missing murder incident, making every cheerful jingle just that much darker. Next we have Bonnie. He's a giant purple rabbit, and in the first Five Nights at Freddy's, he's the one that most players find the creepiest. Fun fact, Bonnie is the animatronic that Scott Cawthon himself had nightmares about after making the game. He's also one of the most aggressive in gameplay, proving that rabbits don't just eat carrots, that they're probably going to eat you as well. Next, we got Chica. She's the chicken mascot, though honestly she kinda looks more like a demonic duck, and for a while I didn't know if she was a chicken or a duck, but she's known for her bib that says, "Let's eat," which if you know the lore, it's less about pizza and more about stuffing you into a soup full of metal parts. Oh, and she has that cupcake sidekick. Yeah, it's not cute, it just stares at you like it's in on the murder plan. And finally, Foxy. Foxy's the outcast of the group, but he hides behind the curtain in Pirate Cove, but he will sprint down the hall like a track star on Red Bull. Fans love Foxy, partly because he feels different than the others, and partly because he's a nightmare with sharp teeth and a hook. He's also linked to some of the biggest Bite of 87 theories, and because if anyone looks bite happy, it is definitely this guy. These core four set the template, they're mascots and they're monsters, and they're the reason a whole generation of players never trusted Chuck E. Cheese ever again. Before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza became a chain, there was a Fredbear's Family Diner. In the heart of it were two characters, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Fredbear was the star. He was a golden bear animatronic who performed on stage with a microphone in hand and a child's soul probably stuffed inside. He is most famous for the Bite of 83 when his jaw snapped shut on the crying child. That single moment is one of the darkest turning points in Five Nights at Freddy's lore. And then there's Spring Bonnie, the yellow rabbit counterpart. Spring Bonnie is a special because he was a spring lock suit, meaning he could be worn by employees or operate as an animatronic. Spoiler, that design choice is a lawsuit waiting to happen, and William Afton, the murderer at the heart of the franchise, used Spring Bonnie to lure and kill children. Together, Fred and Spring Bonnie were the foundation of everything that came after. The diner, the murders, the haunted animatronics, all of it starts here. They weren't just characters, they were ground zero for the horror that defined Fazbear Entertainment. Now obviously we need to talk about one of the strangest, creepiest, and the most debated animatronic in the entire series, Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy isn't like the others. He doesn't really walk around like normal, he just appears, teleports into your office, and collapses into a lifeless heap. Then suddenly his face is in your face and ending your game. Lore-wise, Golden Freddy is a nightmare, because many fans believe he's possessed by the spirit of the crying child from Bite of 83, and others argue he's tied to one of the original missing children. Some say he's a ghost and not even a proper animatronic. Golden Freddy's existence blurs the lines between Fredbear and Freddy. Is he a ghostly echo of Fredbear after the diner closed? Is he Freddy's haunted golden cousin? Scott never gave us a clear answer, which of course means the fandom has written about 1,000 theories to fill that gap. But what we do know for sure is that Golden Freddy is central to the series lore. He's a symbol of unfinished business, a reminder that some souls never rest, and a walking glitch in reality himself. If Freddy Fazbear is the face of the franchise, Golden Freddy is the shadow lurking just behind it. And next up we had 1987, the so-called safe replacements, the toy animatronics, but spoiler alert, they are not safe, because this is Five Nights at Freddy's, why would they be safe? We have Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica, shinier, smoother, and loaded with facial recognition software linked to a criminal database, which sounds high-tech until you remember Fazbear Entertainment is the company running it, and Toy Chica is infamous for her missing beak and those wide, unsettling eyes. She went from friendly chicken to mascot with nightmare fuel with lipstick. And then Toy Bonnie is the blue rabbit who looks like he's seconds away from selling you a used car. He is cocky, stylish, and absolutely terrifying in game. Oh, and Toy Freddy? Yeah, he's like Freddy 2.0, but with an energy that screams dad who just discovered Fortnite. And then we got Balloon Boy, BB, the menace of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He doesn't kill you directly, instead he just kind of disables your flashlight, leaving you wide open for Foxy. In other words, he just trolls you the whole game. And finally, what I find the creepiest is the puppet, also called the marionette. The puppet is huge in the lore. It's the one that gave life to the other animatronics by handing out souls of the murdered children. Without the puppet, none of these haunted animatronics would exist. It's creepy, tragic, and one of the most important characters in the franchise. And sharing space with these toys are the withereds, the broken down remains of the original animatronics, and these guys are the definition of nightmare fuel. Withered Bonnie is the most shocking because his entire face is missing, exposing the metal skeleton underneath, and players hated and loved this design because of how just grotesque it is. Withered Chica has an unhinged jaw and mangled hands. She's permanently stuck in a scream, and she looks like she just lost a fight with a trash compactor. Withered Freddy is less dramatic, but still unsettling. He still looks like the Freddy we know, but he's gutted, cracked, and worn out. Oh, and Withered Foxy. Yeah, he's already scary as hell, but the Withered version takes it up to another level with the decayed look that makes him look rabid. The withers symbolize Fazbear's cheapness, and instead of retiring the old animatronics, they shove them in the back and let them rot. Out of sight, but never out of mind, and definitely not out of nightmares. Now we're into the Five Nights at Freddy's 4, where things go from scary to just pure psychological torture. Enter the nightmares. Nightmare Freddy stalks you with an army of the little Freddys. It's like Freddy had evil kids of his own, and they're crawling all across your bed. Nightmare Bonnie is the twisted, sharp-toothed version of the original rabbit. He's spikier, scarier, and ready to chew through your dreams. Nightmare Chica's worse. Her cupcake now has teeth and joins in the haunt. If a killer chicken, duck, whatever, wasn't enough, here's her demonic pastry sidekick. Nightmare Foxy hides in your closet and bursts out like the worst jump scare you'll ever get. It's basically just childhood trauma in digital form. And then Nightmare Fredbear, and later Nightmare himself, the literal embodiment of fear. They're tied directly to the crying child's terror and possibly even William Afton's experiments. The nightmares aren't just scary designs, they represent fear itself, and that kind of sticks with you long after that screen goes black. Now let's step into the basement circus nightmare that is Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. First up, Circus Baby. She looks like a clown doll built to perform for children, but under the paint, she's one of William Afton's most sinister creations. Baby is famous for luring kids in with her ice cream before. Yeah, you guessed it, snatching them away. In fact, she directly killed Afton's own daughter, Elizabeth, possessed by her. Baby becomes a tragic mix of sweet voice lines and horrifying violence. And then we have Ballora, the ballerina animatronic. Then there's Ballora, the ballerina animatronic. She represents elegance twisted into something monstrous. She's blind, but she hunts by sound, forcing you to stay absolutely still in gameplay. Lore-wise, Ballora may symbolize Miss Afton after making her design one of the creepiest family echoes in the series. Next is Funtime Freddy. He's loud, unhinged, and comes with a hand puppet named Bonbon. If Freddy is supposed to be the leader, Funtime Freddy feels like his psychotic cousin who got kicked out of every single party. And Funtime Foxy mixes performance with sheer terror. Sometimes portrayed as male, sometimes female, sometimes neither. Foxy's gender ambiguity became a fandom talking point, but what's certain is that this thing wants you dead. Then we have Enigma, the Frankenstein's monster of Sister Location, a tangled mess of wires and parts created when all the Funtime animatronics fused together. Its goal? To crawl inside Michael Afton and wear him like a suit. Yeah, you thought stuffing someone into an animatronic was bad? Enigma decided to reverse it. Next is Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, which at first looked like a cute tycoon game and then revealed itself as one of the darkest entries in the series. Scrap Baby is a circus baby rebuilt, but creepier. Her claw hand is massive, and she's even more unhinged than before. Molten Freddy is the remains of Enigma, now a writhing tangle of wires with a Freddy mask slapped on. It's like if spaghetti learned how to kill you. And then there's Lefty. At first glance, just another Freddy clone painted black and red, but inside Lefty, the puppet. The entire point of Lefty was to capture and contain the puppet once and for all. And finally, Scrap Trap. William Afton himself. Burned, broken, but still shambling around in the remains of his spring Bonnie suit. He's proved no matter how many times you set him on fire, evil just won't stay dead. Pizzeria Simulator ends with Henry's infamous speech, trapping the animatronics in flames and freeing the souls inside. It was supposed to be closure, but this is Five Nights at Freddy's, so closure never really lasts. And finally, let's talk about the most colorful and controversial cast, the Security Breach crew. Glamrock Freddy is a rare ally in the series, and he actually helps the player Gregory survive the night, which makes him one of the only animatronics that you can genuinely root for. Glamrock Chica still has her appetite, but now it's for trash and pizza combined. Lore-wise, she's another corrupt animatronic under Vanny's influence. Montgomery Gator, or Monty, is aggressive, loud, and basically Florida Man in Gator form, and he may even be the one who replaced Bonnie after Bonnie mysteriously vanished from the Pizzaplex. Roxanne Wolf is vain, self-obsessed, and a reminder that narcissism can, in fact, kill. She taunts Gregory constantly, calling out his every move. And then there's DJ Music Man. He's like a giant spider-like DJ who turns a rave into pure nightmare fuel. One of the weirdest but most unforgettable designs in the franchise. And let's not forget about Sun and Moon, also known as the daycare attendant. Sun is friendly and Moon is horrifying. Together they're proof that even childcare is terrifying in the Five Nights at Freddy universe. The Security Breach cast proves one thing, that Five Nights at Freddy isn't slowing down, the designs get flashier, the lore gets messier, and the animatronics just keep piling up. So why do we obsess over every animatronic? Why explain them all? Well, because they're not just robots, they're symbols. They represent fear, trauma, and tragedy. Kids trapped inside machines, innocence twisted into horror, and they represent entertainment gone wrong. A company that cared more about profit than safety and creating mascots that killed instead of protect. And they represent us, the fandom. The reason we keep coming back isn't just the jump scares, it's the mystery of these animatronics, the theories, the debates, and the idea that maybe, just maybe, the next game will finally explain it all. But spoiler alert, it won't, but that's the fun, right? The animatronics are the heart of Five Nights at Freddy. Creepy, tragic, and unforgettable. Well, there you have it. Every Five Nights at Freddy animatronic explained. Well, at least until Scott or Steelwool adds 5 more next year and ruins my life again. I've given you my rundown, but what about you? What animatronic do you think is the scariest, the saddest, or the weirdest? Drop your theories in the comments because this fandom has never met a debate that they did not love. See you in the next one. Bye!